From our Toronto studios, this is the Muslim News on Muslim Network TV. Assalamu alaikum, I'm Zahra Syed. Our top story for today. The Uncommitted National Movement has announced that it will not endorse Vice President Kamala Harris for president. The group is mobilizing uncommitted primary votes against the Biden administration's policies in Gaza. They criticized her for not shifting her stance on unconditional weapons policies and failing to affirm U.S. and international human rights laws. While opposing a Trump presidency, the group encourages voters to register anti-Trump votes and aims to build an anti-war coalition within the Democratic Party. The announcement coincides with Harris's upcoming campaign event in Michigan, a key battleground state. The movement reports that over 800,000 voters have chosen uncommitted ballots nationwide. Amongst them are more than 100,000 are in Michigan alone. This reflects discontent with the current administration's approach towards Israel's war on Palestine. Michigan is a crucial battleground state with more than 300,000 people of Middle Eastern and North African descent, making up about 3.1% of the state's population. In 2020, Biden defeated Trump in Michigan by a margin of just over 150,000 votes. This was a significant contrast to 2016, when Trump won by less than 11,000 votes against Democratic candidate Hillary Clinton. Minnesota Representative Ilhan Omar has criticized the alarming rise of Islamophobia in the United States, spotlighting recent comments made by Senator John Kennedy during a Senate Judiciary Committee hearing. In an op-ed for British daily The Guardian, she said, instead of addressing the intended focus on increasing hate against Muslim, Jewish, and Palestinian Americans, Kennedy directed a derogatory remark at a Muslim witness. He asked Maya Berry to hide her head in a bag. A number of those present at the hearing say that in the face of the accusations, Berry answered Kennedy's remarks with grace, sensitivity, and poise. Omar argues that such comments reflect a troubling normalization of hate speech, particularly within the Republican Party, where anti-Muslim rhetoric is increasingly prevalent. Despite the committee's aim to confront bigotry, Kennedy and his colleagues turned the discussion into a display of Islamophobic attacks, showcasing the very hatred the hearing sought to condemn. Omar is emphasizing the urgent need for all lawmakers to denounce such remarks and unite against hate. She argued that combating hate requires solidarity across affected groups, reminding that intolerance in any form is a danger to democracy and society at large. Israel and Hezbollah have intensified cross-border exchanges, with Hezbollah firing over 150 rockets into northern Israel, following Israeli strikes on southern Lebanon. Lebanon's Ministry of Health says 8 people, including 5 children, have now been killed in an Israeli airstrike in southern Beirut. It added that hospitals have so far received 59 injured, including 8 in critical condition. The surge in violence comes after pager and walkie-talkie explosions killed 37 and injured nearly 3,000 in Lebanon earlier this week. As a precaution, many residents in Lebanon are abandoning electronic devices amid the chaos. Israeli media reports indicate that at least 300 homes in the Metula settlement have been damaged, with the latest attacks igniting fires and causing significant destruction. Hezbollah has also claimed responsibility for 17 separate assaults on Israeli military positions in a single day, marking the most intense day of conflict. The situation remains tense, with both sides bracing for further confrontations. Non-Zionist group Jewish Voice for Peace, or JVP, is calling recent attacks in Lebanon acts of terrorism that threaten to plunge the region into all-out war. In a statement, the organization condemned the assaults as the actions of an Israeli rogue state, which is fueled by a climate of total impunity. JVP criticized mainstream media for framing the attacks as precision operations targeting Hezbollah, arguing instead that numerous civilians have suffered as a result. The violence has included explosions during a funeral, which JVP says aims to instill fear in the Lebanese populace and which the group notes is terrorism. The organization is warning that these attacks could trigger wider conflict, with Israeli officials hinting at the invasion of southern Lebanon. JVP is the world's largest progressive Jewish anti-Zionist organization. It has been mobilizing a grassroots movement in solidarity with the Palestinian freedom struggle. JVP asserts that the United States plays a pivotal role in this cycle of violence by providing military support to Israel. This in turn profits the United States arms manufacturers. JVP stresses that to prevent further bloodshed and regional conflict, the U.S. must cease its arms supply to Israel. Israeli airstrikes across Gaza on Thursday and early Friday killed at least 28 Palestinians. In Gaza City's Al-Daraj neighborhood, a strike on a residential home killed 7 and wounded several others, while additional attacks on the Abu al-Hatal and Ziyada families killed 6 people. A Wall Street Journal reports city's U.S. officials suggesting a ceasefire between Israel and Hamas is unlikely before President Joe Biden's term ends in January. This is despite earlier indications of significant progress. While Washington previously indicated that 90% of an agreement had been reached, significant disagreements due to Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's obduracy remain. At least 41,272 people have been killed and 95,551 wounded in Israel's war on Gaza. But the British medical journal The Lancet in July estimated that Israeli actions may have killed 186,000 Palestinians in Gaza. Israel faces accusations of genocide at the International Court of Justice for its war in Gaza. Thousands of teddy bears are displayed in Doha, Qatar, in memory of dead children of Gaza. Details come after the break. Stay tuned, and we will be right back. Welcome back. More than 15,000 teddy bears were displayed in the capital of Qatar, Doha, on Tuesday in memory of Palestinian children killed in Israel's war on Gaza. In the installation titled Echo of Lost Innocence, black t-shirts on each teddy bear read, "I am not just a number. I am a human being. I have an identity. I have a homeland. I am Palestine. Free Palestine message." The installation at the Barahat Mashairab open-air gallery will be featured until September 26th. Syrian artist and designer Bashir Muhammad, who owns the work, said that when he started the project, the number of children killed was less than 4,000. But today, this number has exceeded 15,000 and is still rising. The proceeds of each teddy bear sold will be spent for the children of Gaza. Hendricks County, Indiana, has agreed to pay $300,000 to an Islamic educational organization following a lawsuit for violating the Fair Housing Act. The county unlawfully denied zoning approval twice for a project aimed at establishing an Islamic seminary, school, and residential area. Attorney Zachary Myers emphasized that discrimination based on religion is unacceptable in Indiana. As part of the settlement, the county will train its officials on the Fair Housing Act, the Religious Land Use and Institutionalized Persons Act. Assistant Attorney General Kristen Clark highlighted that local governments cannot make zoning decisions influenced by the religion of developers. The lawsuit was filed by Al-Hasnan Seminary. It accused the county of unfairly burdening the applicant compared to others. While the terms are agreed upon, they still require court approval. Hendricks County has not yet commented on the settlement. A new education and community center in Houston aims to highlight the rich history of Spanish-speaking Muslims. Founded by Jamie Mujahid Fletcher, who turned his life around after leaving the gang culture, the Centro Islamico provides accessible materials to educate the public about Islam. The 10,000 square foot facility features Andalusian-inspired architecture and includes a prayer area, as well as a museum dedicated to 800 years of Muslim history in Spain. As well, it offers Friday sermons in Spanish and English, aiming to bridge cultural gaps and promote understanding. The center's grand opening will be held on November 16th. Florida lawmaker Ana Paulina Luna has expressed heightened concerns for her safety as a member of Congress. She says she feels less secure now than during her military service. In a recent interview on News Nation's Cuomo, Luna highlighted the alarming trend of threats against lawmakers, noting it doesn't feel safe right now to be in politics. Luna reported a surge in threats and doxing incidents, including a chilling situation where an online page urged people to send threatening packages to her home. Most disturbingly, she revealed a recent serious shooting threat, prompting her to take extensive safety precautions for her family, staff, and constituents. Luna's fears comes on the heels of an apparent second assassination attempt against former President Donald Trump, which is currently under investigation by law enforcement. Despite these challenges, she says she remains committed to her role in Congress. Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer has announced that the Senate will intervene to prevent a government shutdown set for October 1st. This follows a failed funding plan from House Speaker Mike Johnson, which lacked bipartisan support. Schumer criticized House Republicans for their inaction, stating they don't seem to have any plan for keeping the government open. He plans to file cloture on a legislative vehicle to facilitate the Senate's efforts. This comes after the House rejected a 6-month funding stopgap, which was tied to controversial voter registration requirements by a 202 to 220 vote. Former President Donald Trump urged Republicans to allow a shutdown unless stricter voter registration rules are adopted. Schumer emphasized that both parties must collaborate to find a viable solution. He says neither Democrats nor many Republicans desire a shutdown instigated by Trump's demands. A recent survey by the Commonwealth Fund reveals that the United States has the worst healthcare system amongst 10 wealthy countries. The annual report ranks Australia, the Netherlands, and the United Kingdom at the top, highlighting that the United States is the only clear outlier performing dramatically lower than its peers. The study assessed access to care, administrative efficiency, and health outcomes. It found that the United States dead last in access, care processes, and equity, and only 9th in the administrative efficiency. The report cites affordability as a major barrier, with around 26 million Americans lacking health coverage and many more underinsured due to high deductibles. This starkly contrasts with countries like the United Kingdom, where healthcare is universally free, and Germany, which limits out-of-pocket costs based on income. The findings underscore a significant disparity in healthcare access and outcomes in the United States compared to other developed nations. A new report reveals that leading social media and video streaming companies have engaged in extensive surveillance of users, raising serious privacy concerns. The investigation highlights lax privacy controls and insufficient protections for children and teens, with companies monetizing personal data without adequate safeguards. Major platforms, including Meta, YouTube, and TikTok, were found to retain vast amounts of user information, often disregarding deletion requests. The report emphasizes that automated systems used by these companies lack transparency, giving users little control over their data. Federal Trade Commission Chair Lina Khan criticized these practices. She said they jeopardize privacy and expose users to risks like identity theft and stalking, particularly affecting younger audiences. With targeted advertising fueling these surveillance tactics, analysts say the report underscores a troubling trend in prioritizing profit over user safety and privacy. The International Monetary Fund, or the IMF, has projected that global public debt may reach 100% of GDP by the end of this decade. In a speech at the Central Bank of Ireland, IMF First Deputy Managing Director Geeta Gopinath revealed that the public debt already stood at 93% of GDP in 2023. This is primarily due to government responses to pandemics and ongoing energy and food crises. While some major economies like the United States and China are expected to see rapid debt growth, Europe's debt is anticipated to stabilize, albeit at levels above pre-pandemic norms. Gopinath emphasized the need for a strategic pivot in fiscal policy, urging countries to prioritize gradual fiscal consolidation and engage with civil society to foster compliance and support. She warned that the current trajectory of debt is unsustainable and requires urgent attention. That's all from our Toronto studios. Thank you for watching Muslim News. We are a community channel dedicated to bringing you stories you can trust. Please like, share, and subscribe to our content. You can also comment to let us know what you think of our coverage. You can donate now by visiting muslimnetwork.tv/donate. For more content, keep watching Muslim Network TV. Assalamu alaikum.